你好，我叫 CJ. 欢迎回来, happy news, etc. Welcome back, and thank you for being here. We're going to pick back up where we left off yesterday, learning Mandarin. We're starting today with a teacher talk. We'll probably be talking to Maggie and Chris, if I had to guess.
Hi everyone, you are listening to Teacher Talk. 我是 Maggie.
And I'm Chris.
And today we are going to talk about clauses in Chinese, and we call them 小句, literally means small sentences.
And for all of you that don't remember your 5th grade grammar class, a clause is a short structure that can sometimes be a full sentence, can stand alone, or sometimes is part of a sentence. And what in Chinese is called a sentence and is blocked with a period might sometimes feel quite long. It isn't as strict about when to put a period. You'll see a lot more commas in Chinese. It's more about when you've finished expressing one idea than any strict grammar boundary of how much can be in one sentence. So if you've studied languages like Spanish or French, it's kind of similar to that. The boundaries are about meaning, not about, hitting a certain word limit.
Yeah, that is to say, in the full Chinese sentence, there might be many clauses, maybe 4 or 5 or even more sometimes.
Yeah, and just when you're done talking about that thing, then you go, boop, put a little period, and then you're done.
Yeah, and before that period, all of them are just clauses. And sometimes it can be quite confusing. So today we are going to talk a little bit about the clauses in Chinese.
Yeah, in English, 2 clauses must be connected by a conjunction. So those are words like and, but, so.
And in Chinese, actually, we do that too. And the most commonly used conjunction is 也. So the basic meaning of that word is also. We've learned that before. And it can also be used to connect clauses, which are explaining different aspects of the same topic. And in those cases, it means and. So, for example, I can say, 我喜欢吃苹果，也喜欢喝酸奶。我喜欢吃苹果，也喜欢喝酸奶。
I like water.
I like eating apples, and I also like drinking yogurt.
Yogurt.
Or 他喜欢吃肉，也喜欢喝酒。他喜欢吃肉，也喜欢喝酒。He likes eating meat, and he also likes drinking alcohol.
And so here, both actions, eating and drinking, are connected kind of logically in your head, things you do together. And there's one subject, and the second half of the sentence doesn't have a subject, but it's just continued with the word yeah. Notice we are using yeah here and not he to mean and. So
I did notice
if you're thinking,
Chris.
I need to connect 2 separate sentences, what they would be in English or clauses, you should be using yeah every time.
Yeah, and if you look 和 up in a dictionary, it also says and, but it can only be used to connect nouns. Like I can say, 我喜欢吃苹果和香蕉. I like eating apples and bananas. But when it comes to clauses, you should use 也, not 和.
Yeah, so in that first example, what we saw was the first half, he likes eating meat and also drinking alcohol. That fits English pretty well. There's a subject in the first half. There's no subject in the second half. But even when there is a subject on both sides, they're both could be complete sentences that stand by themselves. Yeah can be used. And in writing, you're just going to have a comma between them.
Yeah, like I can say, 他喜欢喝咖啡，我也喜欢喝咖啡。他喜欢喝咖啡，我也喜欢喝咖啡。 She likes drinking coffee.
And I like
also like drinking coffee.
Yeah, so that's two full sentences joined together. In English, you'd probably put a period, or if you're fancy, maybe a semicolon in between those two clauses. But when you're writing, just put a comma.
Yeah, because I think Chinese people, we are just thinking that we are talking about the same topic, which is about drinking coffee. So we are still dealing with the same topic. So we just use two clauses rather than two sentences.
Yeah, if you're writing in Chinese, when in doubt, use a comma, I'd say. I can still remember when I was doing my Chinese homework many years ago, and my teacher would just kind of draw lines, turning all of my periods into commas in the essays I needed to write for Chinese class.
Yeah, right. I think just in writing, we don't prefer a lot of short sentences. We need to combine some of those into a longer sentences with different clauses.
Yeah. The longer your sentences, the smarter you are, right?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that one using yeah is still kind of within the realm of the way we think about connecting clauses in English. But in Chinese, it's also okay, especially when showing contrast, to just not have any kind of connecting word at all.
Yeah, well, actually, it is said that it's one main feature of Chinese. So Chinese mainly relies on the meaning to form sentences, and Chinese lacks markers to identify grammatical roles within a sentence. And that's the reason why in Chinese we often skip the linking word, like those conjunctions, completely, because the meaning itself already shows the relationship.
Yeah, so when translating long Chinese sentences into English, I've often found I need to add conjunctions to make things flow and to put them back into the confines of English grammar.
So, for example, in Chinese, it's totally fine to say 他喜欢我,我不喜欢他。他喜欢我, he likes me. 我不喜欢他, I don't like him.
Yeah, and so that would be fine in speaking because, you know, there's no punctuation marks in speaking. But in writing, you would either need to put a but or have those be
even there
separate sentences separated with a period. But in Chinese, once again, there can just be a comma between these two clauses.
And for another example, I can also say 我不吃肉,我不要饺子。我不吃肉, I don't eat meat. 我不要饺子, I don't want dumplings.
Yeah, so here this would be cause and effect. Because the dumplings usually have meat in them, I don't want to eat them. And my feeling here is I would like to have a because or a so here just to show what kind of logic. But that logic in Chinese is just assumed.
It wasn't implied to me.
Yeah, that logic is represented by a comma as well.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. The comma means so much. It's a very deep comma in this case.
Right.
Yeah, so I think in conclusion, in simple sentences like these, what I'd say is, if you feel like you'd like to say and, use yeah, which, although it says also in the dictionary, kind of has the meaning of and. And if you want to use but or so, just don't use anything. And just say those thoughts in a row or write those thoughts in a row directly. And it's fine. Separated by commas if you're writing them.
Okay, so less is more, huh?
Less is more. Also, fewer opportunities to make mistakes, the less you say or write.
Yeah. We do have those conjunction words in Chinese, and you'll learn it later, but in spoken language, actually, we just drop them a lot. So hopefully this teacher talk will help you understand more about those clauses or long sentences in spoken Chinese.
I think so.
Good luck.
Sounds a little desperate.
You'll be fine. Anyway.
Okay, so that's all for this teacher talk. Thanks for listening. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
you're on a date and want to talk about your hobbies, how would you say it in Chinese? This is a h versus yeah. And the answer is yeah, 我喜欢看电影，也喜欢听音乐。Next episode.
Hello everyone, I'm Yan.
And I'm Chris.
In this teacher talk, we're teaching you one simple but very useful Chinese pattern. A single word plus ne.
Yeah, so this is in pinyin spelled N-E, and this sound shows up at the end of so many sentences and has a lot of meanings, but I'd say there's two major ones that we're going to cover in this lesson. One is kind of the what about you, and then the other is where is it?
Yeah. So let's start with the first meaning, asking for someone's opinion or checking someone's situation. So when you say your own thought and then add 你呢, you're basically inviting the other person to share their view. For example, if I say, oh, 我喜欢 Elton John, 你呢? I'm
like
asking
Elton
whether
John?
you
And
also
you.
like
I like
Elton
Elton
John,
John.
or what's your
Do
thought
you?
about him.
Wow, for someone who usually makes such relevant cultural references, I'm shocked.
Shocked by
Elton
my
John's
choice,
relevant.
Elton John, right?
Yeah, you were probably not even born during his last hit. But yeah, the grammar stands, right? The 你呢 at the end is just, what about you? Or you could say, you know, I passed the HSK test, 你呢, and I'm checking to see if you've also passed. Yeah, so in this sense, this is like saying, what about you? How about you? At the end of whatever you've just spoken. And this can be used to keep the conversation going on forever. It's one of those, magic words in Chinese that, like, if you don't know that much Chinese and you want to keep the other person talking, you can hit them with a lot of 你呢.
Yeah. So your conversation will just last forever. Last longer than Elton John's hit.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, you just wait for them to ask you a question and then you answer and then you say 你呢, and then they have to answer and then they'll generate the next question and you can keep going on.
Yeah. So, when ne is used in this way, like 你呢, there must be some context. But if there's no context at all, then ne will mean something completely different. And let's take a look at the second meaning. Where is it? In this case, ne expresses where is something. So you use it when you're looking for a person or an object that isn't where you expect it to be. So you will put a name and a thing before ne. It means you're wondering where it went. For example, if my dad isn't home by dinner time, I'll ask my mom, 爸爸呢? Which means, where's dad?
Where's dad?
Yeah, or if you're at a coffee shop, you go to the restroom and you come back and your coffee's gone. Maybe the waitress cleared it. You can say, 我的咖啡呢? Where's my coffee?
No.
Nothing else has come before it. You just say the thing and a ne, and it's, where is it? Or where's that person?
So now you will know how to tell this ne apart, right? If ne comes right after someone has shared an idea, a preference, or maybe a feeling, then the ne is asking for your opinion or your thoughts.
Yeah, but if there's no context before it and you suddenly just say a name followed by ne, then it means you're looking for something. Could be your cell phone, your keys, plus ne. Once you get those vocabulary words, not trying to overwhelm you with all the new, other words you haven't studied yet. But yeah, put a ne afterwards. Where are they?
So here is a simple scene to make it clearer. Let's say you're meeting Jack and Rose at a cafe, and when you arrive, you only see Jack sitting there ordering food. So you will ask him, Rose ne? And then Jack says, 他在洗手间.
I think we're hitting yet another cultural reference from a long time ago.
Yeah, I wish Rose was in a restroom though.
Yeah, my understanding is it didn't work out so well for them. But anyway, yes, you show up, you say, "Where's Rose?" And she's in the bathroom. However, if this fictional Jack and Rose who are still alive somehow, then ask you if you want cake, you might say,
我不要蛋糕，我想要2块饼干。你呢？
Yeah, so the first "no" we heard with Rose was, where's Rose? And now the second one means, how about you? So Yan said, I don't want cake. I want 2 cookies. And then said, how about you?
Yeah, I hope this more than Jack and Rose makes you clearer about this concept. And, it's the same particle here, but with different meanings.
Yeah, so keep paying attention to how native speakers use it. If you weren't hearing it before, I know you see it in the app, but if you weren't hearing it around you, I'm sure you will now because it is everywhere.
Thank you for listening to our teacher talk, and we're excited to see you again next time. Nina?
Yes.
Very
surely.
good use of Nina.
I spent all night on it.
Well, we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You ask about Wong phase.
Hello, everyone. I'm Yan.
And I'm Chris.
In this teacher talk, we are asking a fun question. What do Chinese people do for fun?
From kids to retirees, the answers are pretty different, and sometimes they're kind of unexpected.
Yeah, so you might think that young people are the most active, or maybe young people has the best entertainment. Yeah, but we'll see about that.
Yeah, so let's dive into the world of Chinese leisure across the generations. First, we're going to look at what kids do for fun.
So in big cities, in China specifically, no fun is allowed for kids. Kids have very limited free times. And after school, they also have something like a hobby classes. Yeah, and it's often not about hobby. It's about like competitions among the parents.
Yeah, I think it's kind of an experiment of what is my kid good at? And in order to find out what my kid is good at, I need to put them into maybe 10 of these hobby classes, these 兴趣班. I remember parents thinking it was crazy that my daughter was only in 1 or 2 classes when their kids were in 7 or 8.
Yeah, I know, right? Like the situation is only going to get worse because every parents don't want their kids to left behind. So they sign up for every possible classes.
Yeah, and then the interesting thing about it is they go from all of these so-called interest classes to, as they get older and older, they drop off and they prepare for this big test at the end of high school called the Gaokao, which is that final test that gets you into college. And eventually, everyone drops every class that they're taking. And each class gets replaced by like more math, more math, more
English.
Math. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody is the same. Like you have the same destination.
Yeah. And I'd say when they do have time, and maybe this is true of every kid in the world, they mostly turn to cell phones, playing games, watching short videos. And there's actually something kind of interesting that China has done in recent years to try to limit this.
Yeah, we even have a regulation for the minors, so they will only have limited screen time each week.
How much time do they get per week?
I don't know. I'm 22. When it's out, I'm already not the minor. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't know the exact number either, but I remember it being really low.
Yes. They have something like a minor mode for most of the Chinese apps.
But of course, you can just say, "Hey, Mom, can I see your cell phone?" And then you're not limited. So that's what everyone does.
Yeah, it's not suggested.
Yeah, and so that's kids. And of course, that's a gross simplification. But moving into the young adult category, What are the young adults doing these days, Yan, as the resident young adult of this teacher talk?
Guess what? I love staying at home. And I guess like 80% of Chinese people at my age love staying at home. And we have a name for it. It's called 宅. Yeah, literally it means home.
Chai.
So it's like a home culture. Everyone just stays at home, binge watching K-dramas, J-dramas, and then like play games and endless scrolling on short video apps.
Yeah, and this jai comes from the Japanese word otaku, which perhaps you've heard, but it's people who literally stay inside all the time and never go out, which is some kind of subculture in Japan. But I would say when Chinese people use this term, it has nothing to do with any kind of psychological condition. It's more like a general apathy.
Yes.
And sometimes, this also gets rephrased as being like Buddha.
Buddha-like. We chill.
Yeah, I just chill all the time. Nothing bothers me. Many Chinese young people are avoiding big parties and, pressure-filled meetups with new people and prefer, like Yan said, just chilling out, being like Buddha.
Yeah, I just want to spend time with myself. Yeah, I love staying at home, but offline fun still exists, like the world needs young people. Yeah, so I think a lot of my friends, sometimes myself, we still enjoy some karaoke. In China, we call it KTV. Yeah, and we will go to some cafes or maybe some trendy activities, board game, escape room, or city walk. Overall, those are some more social activities than what we do as a kid.
Yeah, well, sounds like you're having fun.
I was.
Yeah. And then there's the older folks. And I'd say they're arguably the most active and very impressive to me.
Yeah, 100% they are. Like they put the young people into shame sometimes. Like you've got the classic group dancing in the public squares, what we call 广场舞. Yeah, they're like every night, every day, every second, they're dancing, having the little parties in the squares.
Interesting.
Yeah, you've also got people playing chess, mahjong, just chatting with neighbors. Going to any park is just like a big social club during the day and even into the evening.
Yeah, they love being in groups. Like older people only appears in groups. They also love going to group tours, whether it's a nearby mountain or a city they've been to like for 10 times. I don't know, it's just about being with the group.
Yeah, and this is way more social than most of the young people I know in China, and also way more social than, my mom's generation in America, I would say. I mean, I'm always kind of after my mom of like, hey, go do this. And she's like, I'm getting old, I'm kind of tired. I'm like, you should see Chinese older people. Yeah. They never stop.
So I'm considered the older generation in the US. Because I don't want to go to this. I don't want to go to that. Like,
yeah, the roles have completely flipped.
So, what counts as fun in China? It really depends on your age, your lifestyle, and even what cities you live in.
Yeah, and you might be thinking, we missed a large group of people, kind of the working population of China, and perhaps they're just, working and having children and things like that. They're quite busy. So we just skipped over, this big group of Chinese people. But I'd say it's safe to say they're having some fun as well.
Yeah, and it's not difficult to imagine what life they're having. So, yeah, quite the same.
Yeah, but any group, they find something to do to enjoy their lives, whether it's out singing KTV or, just staying home and binge watching iQIYI, Netflix, whatever kind of platform you enjoy. Yeah, they're having a great time.
Yeah, people find ways to enjoy their life anyway. So that's all for this teacher talk, and we hope you find ways to enjoy your life as well.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time on Teacher Talk.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
In China, kids in big cities often have plenty of free time after school to relax and play. Doesn't seem to be. It's a good episode. Hey, I like that episode. A couple of teacher talks, learned a few things about life in China and combining words. Hopefully you enjoyed that too. We're going to pick it back up tomorrow with another episode. I hope you have a great rest of your day. 再见, and find some time to smile. Cheers. See you tomorrow.